Hi there, my name is Jim Cox. I'm the Scoutmaster of Troop 121 in Mansfield, Ohio, and glad to be here today to talk to you a little bit about how popcorn sales can support your high adventure program in your troop or unit, whatever you want to do. The first big thing is to dream big. Sit there and just brainstorm. We recently came back from a phenomenal trip in Louisiana with Swamp Base. There's some information about that in this video. Near Lafayette, Louisiana. We canoed about 70 plus miles in the swamps of Louisiana, southern part, in fact an area called the Atchafalaya Swamp, along with some of our older scouts and a few of our adult leaders. High adventure is a critical part, in my opinion, of scouting. Merit badges are great, working on leadership and service is very important, but taking the youth and going out and challenging themselves, whether it's something like Philmont or Sea Base, or a council-run program called Swamp Base, is really a great way for bonding and a good challenging of all the skills that the scouts have been working on over the years. Swamp Base I'll come back to, but let's talk a little bit about how your popcorn work can really help you raise the funds you need. As I mentioned, dream big, but the very next thing you really need to do is get some cost parameters around your high adventure. How are you going to travel there? Is there an overnight accommodation? Certainly, what's the cost of the program itself? And anything else that you need to accomplish. Once you do that, get a commitment from your parents and scouts, and once you know who's going to come along and when it's going to be, could be 18, 24 months out, it's time to raise funds. One of the best ways we've done it is the popcorn sales. There's a great program that, while some of the monies go to the council, some goes to the troop, we've allocated some to our individual scout accounts. Now, popcorn sales can be done in a lot of fun ways. We set individual goals each year. Maybe we add 5 or 10% as long as it's to what they did last year, as long as it's reasonable. But we also do other things like group sales, show and tells, as we call them. Maybe at a Lowe's or a Home Depot or another retailer where we've pre-set up times to have the boys come in and sell the popcorn. And it's done respectably, nobody's pressured, but when you have the scouts in uniform explaining why they're raising funds through popcorn to go on high adventure and other scout programming, you'll be surprised how frequently people buy the popcorn or frankly even give donations even if they don't want the product. Part of the other piece that really helps out are incentives, which are set by our popcorn colonels at the very beginning. It's critical to have 1 or 2 popcorn colonels to set up the program, make sure they understand the pickup times and explain the program to the boys. But even more so, put incentives in place, you know, the various levels of selling, things that the guys can get. We also have some fun things. At the end, the top sellers can choose who they want to throw a pie in the face to. It's pretty funny who they select, and it might not be always who you think it would be. But it's a variety of incentives that get them going. What really drives them, though, is the promise of something like the high adventure. So let me tell you about Swamp Base briefly. It is a council-run program out of the Evangeline Scout Council down in southern Louisiana. Part of the Atchafalaya Swamp, it's part of the history of the United States, and frankly, it's an area that I don't know how I would go see unless it was through this incredible program that's run with Ben Pierce and his colleagues down there. 70 miles plus over about 4 or 5 days. Alligators, all sorts of beautiful birds, incredible cypress trees that we paddled through. We portaged over back and forth levees, which help keep the Missouri and the Mississippi from overflowing where people live, for instance. One of our fun events on the last day was crossing over the levee, and it was called the Swamp Stomp. And the best way I can describe it is where you walk but your feet stay in place and your upper body doesn't, so like I did, you go flat down in the mud, and well, it's a pretty messy, fun adventure when it comes down. I think their motto is, sure, a scout is clean as part of the scout law, but he's not afraid to get muddy, and I certainly did that as well. We also had some very special moments, for instance, getting up at 4 in the morning and paddling to a certain area to watch an incredible sunrise, or going in the forgotten bayou swamp where we went to areas that were very quiet. In fact, we were asked to be quiet, and just enjoy nature and feel the weight of that area. It is warm, it's muggy, and it's one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. So whether it's Swamp Base, or Philmont, or Northern Tier, or Summit, or Sea Base, for instance, high adventure should be a critical and important part of your troop planning. It does take 18 to 24 months to wrap your brain around it and do all the things we talked about. it does take time to physically prepare and especially financially prepare. Popcorn sales is a great way to do it. If the boys and girls have goals to achieve and they know what the payoff is, not only the pie in the face, but a high adventure trip, it really incentivizes them and the troop to raise the money that they need to have excellent programming in addition to the monthly campouts, in addition to the other great things that Scouting does. Please consider some of the council-run camps like Swamp Base, certainly support your local council camps, and have great scouting for our young men and women. Thanks. Have a good day.